Was born without his left hand and had adjusted to life with a simple prosthetic limb. But then earlier this year, he heard about a new bionic hand that could change his life. He was so determined to have one, he wrote to the Formula One team asking for a little financial help. Well, his wish has now been granted and he's here with his dad, Rob. This is a wonderful story, I have to say. So can we just have a little look at this bionic hand that you have now?
Yeah, I mean, this is the hand itself, the Island Pulse. It's called a pulse mainly because it has a special function where, for extra grip, you can pulse it. I'm going to try and demo that now, but it's quite hard to do it without an object. And
how long have you had it for now, Matthew?
I've had it for about a few weeks now, since the...
Is that all?
Yeah, I mean, it's... I mean, the people at Touch BIONIC said I've got to it, used to it fairly quickly, but, yeah, it's only been a few weeks.
Now, why were you determined, you obviously read about it, determined to get one of these? Because you were living your life well before, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Why did you particularly want that?
Well, ever since it was released, I think in 2009, it has been the best hand on the market. I mean, nothing comes close to it. The patented design of each finger having a motor means it's the only hand at the moment which has the ability to do anything, really.
But they're expensive, aren't they?
Yes. The total cost, including the week up in Scotland to fit it, is £35,000, which is a lot more expensive than, yet again, any other hand. So we knew we needed some kind of outside funding, really.
Because the NHS couldn't fund it for you?
Yes, the NHS... the way the NHS works is if you can create a convincing evidence to show why you would need this hand, then they will give it to you. But their idea is they're not going to give it to a kid because this bit, the cast requires fitting, and also only if you prove that you need it for, say, job. So you decided, which is a bit out there, I suppose, to write to a Formula One racing team. Why? Well, Ross Brawn, who's head of Mercedes GP...
Great engineer.
He's an ex-boy of my school, Reading School. So we had that connection there, where we're both in Formula One, obviously both went to Reading. So we came up with the idea, me and my dad, to write a letter to him, just to say, care to sponsor the arm. In exchange, you get some, obviously, the PR, and as well, give some advertising space, because a small section of the arm is, well, you can airbrush it.
And obviously the technologies that are used in Formula One racing cars, I mean, they really are at the forefront of materials science and so on. And did he find that particularly exciting because the arm is using the kind of high-strength plastics, carbon fibres?
Yeah, I mean, the original idea, which we've done a lot of, is, well, this arm actually doesn't, we found out, funnily enough, but many arms do use carbon fibre, and Mercedes GP are even making some of the parts for the hand, some gears. They're also discussing technology sharing with Touch BIONIC, so Mercedes GP are, say, coming up with new ideas for batteries, maybe ones that will last a week rather than just a day, and also various other things. And
the team has the great Michael Schumacher driving for them this season, so you met him, didn't you? Was that great?
Oh, it was really interesting, actually. We were just in the... it was the Thursday before Silverstone, so, in other words, just before it all kicked off, really, and... we were just in the Mercedes GP motorhome, and I say that lightly, mainly because it wasn't really a motorhome, it was some three-storey massive house which you can fit on the top of a trailer.
In the paddock, when you walk down that paddock, they're huge, aren't they? The hospitality, well, they're not tents, they're homes. They're almost estates, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we were just sitting on the second floor having a cup of coffee, and the person who was with us just said the 7-time world champion has just walked into the room. We just turned around, he was just walking through the door, and it was just really nice, actually.
OK, well, we've spoken about it. Can you show us what you can do now with that hand that you couldn't do with the one you had previously?
Well, there are
We've got
loads
some props
of things
here for you.
I mean, just imagining living a day without using your left hand. I mean, most people can't really think of how it would be any different, but to be honest, there are loads of things. I mean, just simple as using cutlery. I mean, cutlery's a bit of a difficult one, really, but, you know, it's just as simple as whether I can hold it. I mean, it's a strong grip, it's quite useful. I mean...
So you can eat with a knife and fork now?
Oh, yes, I did have a kind of... I mean, I've gotten through 14 years not having this hand, so I've kind of developed techniques and made little various almost props to help me with stuff, so I've kind of got an...
It must be fantastic, Rob, to be able to see him doing these things now.
It is, and I think Matthew doesn't realise just how important it's going to be for him. As a child, you get by, people do things for you. But now he's entering his teenage years, he's going to be called on more and more to do things like, you know, prepare meals and help around the house. I know one of the things that Matthew's not so pleased about is the number of chores we now have him doing. So cutting the grass, you know, trimming the hedges, all these things which we sort of maybe didn't get Matthew to do in the past, maybe called on his younger brother and sister to do.
So very exciting. It's
It is,
fantastic, and it's a wonderful story. Thank you for coming in and demonstrating it to us, Matthew, and wish you all the very best in your future, particularly with your karate. I understand you've got a brown belt now in karate, which is
yes.
fabulous. And thank you, Rob.
Thank
It's
you.
lovely to see you.